Hey gamers, today we're going to look at the game Speicherstadt and its expansion Kaispeicher. Let's check it out. Alright, so to set up for the game, I'm setting up for the expansion as well, I should mention. But each player is going to get one of these little cards here. They have a little warehouse that can hold 1 cube. They can also exchange 3 crates of any goods for 1 of a good they want, and 2 crates of any goods for 1 extra coin. They do start the game with 3 if you're playing with the base game. You start with 3 meeples. 4 if you're playing with the expansion, which is what I am. The base game will just have these cards listed out to how many players there are. The board will tell you this is set for a 3-player game, so you set up 4 of these. And if you're playing the expansion, you would take 3 and put them on the top here, which is what I did, and why I've added an extra meeple. You'll also have a meeple here on the score track as well. Now, each player will start the game with 5 coins. The expansion gives you the nice clinkety metal coins. The base game comes with nice cardboard coins, which sadly in my set that I bought does not have it. It also comes with a first player marker, which aggravatingly again, this game I paid for did not have it, so I have to have this first coin player marker that I have from my personal collection. But the game should have your own first player marker, and you do need one in this case. The game expansion also does come with extra resources that you'll have. They are, I think it's silk, glass, and rope. So you would put these in the bag with a bunch of the other cubes as well if you're playing the expansion, if you have it. And then you are ready to play. So on your turn, it's very simple. What you're going to be doing is basically bidding for these cards. The deck is made up of A, B, C, D, and E cards representing winter, spring, summer, and of course fall. And of course once you get through the whole deck, that will be the end of the game. So what a player is going to be doing is they're going to be bidding for any one of these items, and all they have to do is just put their meeple right there on the first spot. And I'm going to stand him up here so you may not be able to see that. And that's what they do. Then it's their turn. Then we go to orange. Maybe orange goes here. Black says, I want this one, and you'll just keep moving around. And if blue says, hey, I may want that one. Orange says, ooh, that looks interesting too. And so then it goes back to black. He says, I want this one. And now if you're playing the expansion, blue can actually take one of these cards up here. Now when you take a card up here, you'll slide it around to the edge of the board there, representing that you're going to get that, or you intend to purchase it. And maybe black player goes, ooh, that's a good idea. I'm going to take this contract and move it around as well. And then orange says, hey, may as well join the party here. And so he takes this card and moves it around like so. And then blue says, okay, well, dadgummit, I'm gonna go here. And orange player says, well, I'm gonna go here. And then black player goes, you know, I'm gonna go back here. All right, so once everyone is placed out, and you gotta place out all of your little meeples, then the game really starts going. So starting from the left and moving over, and again, if you have the expansion, you'll be resolving this one last. Each player is going to be looking at these cards and purchasing them. They have the option. So orange was the only one here. He can buy this card for $1. So he takes one of his coins, says, yeah, I'll get it. So he takes the card and removes his meeple. Then you got the next one. Blue player can take this counting office for $2 because there's 2 people here. And maybe he doesn't want to, so he says, no, I'll pass. Well, then the orange player is the only one left, so he can get it for $1. So the orange player goes, yeah, I'll take that for $1 too. And of course, he keeps going around like this. As you see, black player can say, do you want that for $2? And black player goes, ah, sure, what the heck? And he spends $2. Well, then there's nothing for blue to get, so blue just goes home empty-handed. Now here, as you see, it costs $4 for this card. Black says, no, thank you. Blue says, no, thank you for 3. Orange says, no, thank you for 2. And now the black player's here again. He can get the card for $1, which maybe he does, and puts it in his in his pile. Now over here, the blue player can get that card for $3 because it costs 1, 2, 3. There are 3 people in the row. If he passes, whether or not he passes or not, the black player can get that card for $2 because there's someone behind him. If orange player had not played behind him, then the black card, this card would have just been gone away. It would have been discarded because no one would have claimed it. And this guy could get it for $1. So as you see, it just kind of matters on when you claim these cards and what order they are and how much you have to pay for each one. So that's how the game's going to go around. Then afterwards, you would discard any cards that did not get bid on or that got passed over, and then deal out more cards from the deck. Now, just real quick, I want to show you what each one of these cards do, because each one of the cards can do something different. This one here is a warehouse. It can give you more spaces than what your regular warehouse can give you. So you can hold more goods. Also, at the end of the game, you can exchange these goods for a point. This one, for every coffee cube you have, and coffee cubes are denoted by the brown cubes in the game, so you cash those in and get $1 for them. And of course, this card is worth a victory point at the end of the game. This is a counting office. It's basically set collecting. There are plenty of these cards in this deck for everyone to try to collect them all, but the more you collect, the more points you can get in the game. This one's a rubber factory. For every white cube that you have, you can exchange it for 2 victory points. Here's a fireman. I'll get to him in a minute, but there's a contract. If you can get all 4 of these resources and put them on this contract, then you get 11 victory points. A snitch, they have special characters in the game that can allow you to do things. So before phase 3, before you buy these cards, you can actually swap places with one of the other workers on the board. So maybe you were, first place in an aisle and you don't want to pay that much for the cards, so you switch out with someone else and make them pay the majority, or the B number 1 or B number 2. You can just switch it out however you want. So special cards will do that in the game. And then finally, let me go back to it, firemen. Now, firemen in the game only serve one purpose, of course, to put out fires. In the game, there are going to be these fire cards. At the end of the game, there's a number 4 fire card, but midway through the game, especially when summer comes, winter there are no fires, but starting in summer, and you'll shuffle the deck, so these will be in, different order. You never know when the fire's coming, but when the first fire comes, then we look and see who has the most firemen. Whoever has the most firemen gets 1 victory point. If both players are tied for the most, they both get a victory point. Then whoever has the least amount of firemen, they lose a victory point. And if it's tied, then they both lose a victory point. Now these fires get worse and worse over time. They can go to a 2, a 3, and then finally at the end there's a 4 here. Means whoever has the most will get 4 victory points. Whoever has the least will lose 4 victory points. So you want to collect, it's a good idea to collect firemen and put them in your game, and firemen come in values of 1 to 5. There's one for 4 there too. So it's a good idea to collect these firemen because they're going to be worth something. You don't want to lose those victory points at the end. So what you're going to be doing again is you're going to be going around, you're going to be getting these cards, bidding on these cards, and at the end of every round, every player will get 1 more coin. Money is super tight in this game though, so you only get 1 coin. Now, if you didn't bid on anything or you didn't win anything, then you're going to get 2 coins for the next round. So that's how it's going to go, and then the first player marker will switch to the next player. Now, there are some other cards in here that I do want to talk about. There are ships. And when a ship token comes in, the ship crates can be 1, 2, or 3 crates. Whenever you play one, you will draw from this bag and randomly put out 3 cubes. And like I said, ships can come in 1, 2, or 3 crates. And those would be the 3 resources on there. And of course, the bidding would commence on there. If there was a ship up here, then of course the same bidding for the expansion would be, they would just roll it over to the side, and however many cards are behind it would be the amount they had to pay. And of course, they could also cash those cards in. So for instance, if that was what they had, and someone had that, what was it? This rubber factory. Ooh, I want that rubber because that could give me 2 victory points. And maybe I can exchange these 2 cubes at the end of the round, and if I win that, I can change that into an extra coin to bid on something nicer later on. And then afterwards, once you fulfill a contract or a ship, you'll keep it on you even though you won't use it anymore, because there are some in-game points in the fall that you can count up. It'll say, hey, whoever has the most ships or whoever has the most buildings. She also mentioned there are buildings in the game. Okay, here's a building. Took me long enough to find one, but there are several of them in the deck ranging from 1 to 5 victory points, and you'll count these at the end of the game. And of course, at the end of the game, whoever has the most victory points wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about this game, which name I cannot pronounce? I'm sorry. I don't know. I remember we looked it up, and I tried to play it a few times before I did the review, and I already forgot it by the time it took me to put down my phone and turn on the camera. This is a game by Stefan Feld, which is why I checked it out. It's fairly cheap online. The expansion is not cheap, but if you want all of it together, this actually got rethemed as a Viking game called Jorvik, which is basically the same game but with Vikings and with the expansion included. Different art, but basically cards that do the same thing. So if you want that, get that, because the Kaispeicher, whatever it is, that expansion is out of print and that costs way too much. But it does have those meta coins. Now, I got this for a good deal, but and I like this theme better than the Viking theme, but either way, should you get this game? Well, if you're a Feld fan, yeah, I think so. It is a mean bidding game, because you could be just raising the cost on other people. You don't even want the card. You just don't want them to get away with a cheap item. I like that. At the very beginning in the winter, you need to build up on getting resources on vendors who will take little individual cubes that you can sell for victory points. Man, victory points are hard to come by. When I saw the victory point track went up to 39 points, I went 39 points. We're going to blow through that. No. I don't think I've had a game. I may have gotten to 30 points once. I don't even know. That may be exaggerating. It's very hard to get points in the game. Filling out one of those contracts, like that 11-point contract, that is huge if you can do that. Getting those 4, that's the other thing, that set collection thing. That's great. But there's so many other things you want to get, you forget about the set collector. I think one guy got the very first card, then stopped getting them. And those cards just kept coming out. And I was thinking, dang, I really need to start my collection on those. Never got around to it. But I think if any one of us would have gotten that set collection, we may have won the game. So many choices in this, so many different cards that do so many different things. There are special cards in there like Coffee Break. It allows you to pass, like not bid that turn, which is very important. You don't want to go first. First place is bad, because you going first, the last person going last, they get to see what everyone has, and they get to say, what can I get for cheap, or what do I really want? Now, of course, some of those rows do max out. We have had that before in a 4-player game where a card's so popular, people just keep playing because they don't want to pay so much money for it. They want to try to get it at the cheapest value possible. A lot of strategy in such a simple game. You got to get firemen to avoid, once you start losing a few points, you know it's only going to get worse when a fireman comes out, because at first there's a few, and then as the seasons go along, they get rarer and rarer, and you're like, oh man, I need to pick up that fireman. This may be my last chance to avoid losing points. I love it. I love how the gameplay works in here. Is it my favorite Feld game? No, but it is a good one. Remember, the retheme one, Jorvik, same game with the expansion, and way cheaper than this one, even this base game. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Game on.